skip that one. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Talk to.
Oh no, you're keeping that. We're keeping that in.
Keep it.
You gotta keep that.
Keep
Welcome.
that in it.
You just keep that whole spiel, that whole opening.
Jesus Christ, man.
I love it. Welcome to Talk Junk.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Talk Junkies, where we are in my basement, relaxing, having a good time, talking about things that matter in the world. Johnny, Jesse, welcome, man.
Yeah. Good to be here again.
Yeah.
Always and forever.
I'm used to, being in front of a mic on Sunday nights now. It's just kind of how it goes.
It is. We have some exciting news, and for the people that watch or the people that know me personally in my life, you probably already know that we have the website up to where you can purchase our shirts now. So we have that going. That'll be in the description below. I'm not too entirely sure if I'm able to actually make it an icon on YouTube to where it shows the shirt as opposed to just a link in the description. I've heard from an individual that it could be subscriber-based amount on when you can do that.
Just throw up a picture of it like right now.
Well, I'll definitely do that. But within YouTube, you can actually put like you press it right there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
As you're watching the video as opposed to looking in the description. But anyways, there's 3 options right now. You can get a sweater, a hoodie, a shirt, 2 colors. I need to go up there and work on it a little bit more, but that's what we have for now. So
we actually have 2 color options. What are the colors? Because before it was just gray.
It's just white and then the gray.
Oh,
but
okay.
I just need to go up there. I need to talk to him. I need to, it just takes time, he says, to allow for more options. So we're making no profit off these shirts. I just want to let you guys know that. I don't want to charge anyone right now for profit because you guys tune in each and every single week to listen to us, and I appreciate that. So right now, it's just $16 a shirt, and there's no profit coming our way. So,
and it's an ego thing. We like to see our faces on your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true. Very, very true. Some other exciting news. There is potential for a gentleman by the name of Zachary Hubbard from Gematria Effects.
Jesus Christ,
his YouTube channel. He is potentially going to be joining the show. We're not too entirely sure.
I'd wait till we get some more details about that.
He'll be down. He'll be down though. I know that. And then we also have another show in the works that I've briefly talked to Johnny and Jesse about with a few females coming on the show for the first time.
I don't remember you talking about that one.
Yeah. Well,
no, I do. That was last week. He discussed that last week.
So we have that.
The nurse.
Yeah.
What thing? Okay.
NRN,
Yeah.
Registered nurse. She's been doing it for 20 years. So.
With vaccinations.
I got you.
Well, I mean, it'd be a lot of stuff, but yeah, we will talk about vaccines and stuff like that. But to each his own. Everyone has their own opinions and all that good stuff. But so what's going on, man? Jesse's got the boot off his leg.
I do. I'm up and moving around like
hard limp, I hear.
Yeah. It's a hard limp. I'm playing it, day by day. At some point, I'll be able to, dunk a basketball again. Like what I was doing, a couple months ago, doing the, all the trick shots, the alley oops. They'll be back in my life at some point, like how I was doing them frequently on a daily basis, beforehand. So.
That's what's up, man. It's
I
good to see
remember
it
that.
off.
I remember that.
Yeah, the pole vaulting. I really miss the pole vaulting. So
pole vaulting's fun. I actually did that in high school. It was really fun.
Really?
Yeah.
I would. Yeah.
My PR was not very good, but it is what it is.
Your PR for pole vaulting?
Yeah, my personal record. I can't remember. It was like 8 feet or something, maybe 10.
So like this time the pole didn't snap.
Never snapped.
Oh, okay.
It's just weird. You put I don't know how to explain it, man. Pole vaulting's weird.
No, it is weird. Like, how the fuck did that become a sport? That's a weird one.
They dug a hole in the ground. I mean, now it's like a little plastic hole, and you got to make sure that the stick goes right in there, and then I don't know. It's weird.
I want to know the origin of that one. That one's a little weird.
We might look it up and see what's going on with it.
For sure, man.
Before we start the podcast tonight, man, I really wanted to say something because I think it needs to be said. Life is very short for us on this earth, and I don't want anyone to ever feel like that they're not wanted. I don't want anyone to ever feel like there's never a way out. There's always something out there. There's always help out there. There's always organizations now with the technology that we have, with the way we are able to network with people, from the range of people who are high functioning autistic, from the other spectrum to people who are mentally challenged, to someone who's been domestically abused, there's always outlets, man, and never feel afraid and never feel trapped to where you can't get out, you know? And I've just dealt with some stuff recently in my life where I have a family member who needs to get out and get help, you know? And I just want them to know that, and everyone else to know that you're never trapped and you can always find a way, man. Life's too short. You need to enjoy life for its fullest.
There's always a network out there for you've got close friends who can support you in those endeavors as well, and nobody wants to talk about that with their friends because they don't want to be like embarrassed or whatever. But man, your closest of your closest friends, I wouldn't worry about that embarrassment. Like, they're gonna be there to help you if they're actually your friends and family, you know?
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in what's going on momentarily, and you forget about the future and what the future could be, because I think we have a great opportunity as individuals to forge our own future and who we are as people and be in control of our future. But sometimes you forget that, and you get lost in some moments and bad times, and you need to realize that whatever struggle you're dealing with right now it's not forever. It will go away at some point.
I was going to say my favorite thing to do if I'm going through a down moment, you know, everybody has them. Everybody gets those moments in their life. If I'm going through a down moment, my favorite thing to do is to just really ask myself, does any of this matter 2 months from now? You know what I mean? 2 months from now, you could be in a completely different place.
It's hard to do.
Or a year from now.
I've been there too, and
I'm not saying it's easy.
Get it.
I'm not saying it's easy.
It's hard to do. It's not some easy thing, but sometimes you just need that reminder. And if you're good about, you know, having that inner thought, talking to yourself, you know, what are you appreciative of, and in the realization that, hey, this isn't here to stay, kind of thing. Like the one thing that's guaranteed in life is change. So if you're going through a bunch of shit right now and shit's really bad, the one thing that's guaranteed to you is that it will not be like this for fucking ever, because that's all life is change. All life is change. And
there are people out there who don't have a voice, and people who are autistic and stuff like that, they can fall into the medium to where change doesn't happen, you know? And that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now, that, you know, change isn't happening, and it hasn't happened at all. And that's the thing that's scary, and I just want people to know it applies to everyone, not just us, not just people who can actually have that mindset. There are people who out there that they're not able to have that mindset, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
I want them to know, those people out there, that there are people out there that can help, is all I'm trying to say. I don't know the way to put it, but that's all I got.
No, absolutely. Like, we're all in it together, kind of thing. I have a thorough belief in that we're, whether you like it or not, everybody's in this world thing and life thing together, and we need to, you know, do the best that we can throughout the whole thing. And if you need any kind of help with whatever you're going through, there's always going to be somebody to listen to you and, you know, help out. Like, you just got to find the right ear, kind of thing. But there's plenty of them out there.
On the flip side, if you're not going through anything right now, check on your friends who you haven't talked to in a while, that you know might be or have went through some stuff before.
True.
Doesn't hurt.
Not at all. And I agreed.
It's hard to ask for help. So you know, I really appreciate that you said that, because it is hard to ask for help.
It's super difficult for,
because you're like, who gives a shit about my problems? My problems are, you know, are my own. But
there's all kinds of reasons why you wouldn't want to ask for any kind of help with anything in your life, because it can seem embarrassing, or it can seem weak, or whatever, you know. But everybody goes through some stuff. So on the flip side, knowing that it's hard to ask for help, you gotta, if everything's going smooth for you right now and everything's good, we all know someone who's going through some not so good times. Like, reach out to those people and just, you know, touch base.
It goes a long way. A simple message or a simple call, or even going out to see that person, it makes an impact. And that's the beautiful part about living and being here where we are, is being able to do that. Anyways, we're going to move on to a few topics tonight that we've discussed previously throughout the week. And the first one we should probably just hit on is legal prostitution. And I'm thoroughly impressed that within this podcast we've never talked about that.
It's a valid point.
Yes, we have, by the way.
Not like for a long period of time, though.
It was talked about. We covered it because I remember.
Really? Like
Yeah, I
a whole
remember the
podcast?
No, it wasn't a whole podcast. Obviously, it was back when it's early stages of the podcast. We have covered the topic, and I gave my
Okay.
opinion, which I'll basically give the same opinion because I have the same opinion about it. But
Oh, you're right. Yeah, for sure.
we did cover it in earlier podcasts. But it's a great topic, though. I mean, you talk about something that is, man, it's an underground black market scenario. It's happening. First of all, it is very much a thing that has happened throughout time. It even goes back to like biblical times as far as the Bible goes. Some of the first recorded jobs was prostitution. So it is a thing. It is a thing. Do you think that there's a way to just not have prostitution at all?
No,
To-
it'll,
to where-
it'll always,
to where you
it'll
just
always be a
eliminate it?
thing.
Because that's what the law is saying that, hey, there should be no prostitution.
That'll
But-
never happen.
which creates a black market for prostitution. So the only way you can counteract that is how do you eliminate that? But I mean, something that's been so prevalent throughout and recorded
Also,
history.
I should point out, and I'm not saying for prostitution here, but like, just because there's a law for something doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. Like, you've got a law that, makes drugs illegal. That doesn't mean it's going to get rid of all the drugs. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't just be a law either, though, because it doesn't get rid of all the problems.
I've always said, and I know Paul has said this too, but laws are, whenever you can't find a solution to a problem, you
True.
create a law, because it never solves the origin of the problem. Which I think so. So what's the origin? Whenever you talk problem, it's not like prostitution won't ever be a thing, but what's the problem with prostitution? Or I might be even wording this
I
wrong.
guess all I was trying to say is just because you can't stop something doesn't mean that it shouldn't be a law. Like, I still think there should be a law that you're not allowed to have dog fights. You know what I mean? People are still going to do it, but that doesn't mean just because people are going to do it that it shouldn't be a law. I'm not saying the same applies for prostitution or drugs or anything. I'm just setting a... You're just saying, oh, you're never going to stop it, so why should it be a law? There are laws out there that
basically-
exist.
So let me ask you this: what's the problem with the exchange for money for sex? Let me just ask that there. What's the problem with that? Doesn't matter gender or whatever, but an individual.
And you're not talking about trafficking or anything at this point. You're just talking
I
about
don't-
baseline.
I don't want to talk about sex trafficking or anything. I'm talking about party A wants to have sexual action with party B. Party B will only do it.
Cardi B?
No, I said party
Cardi B will only do it.
Party B will only have sex with Party A for an exchange of currency, for money or works or services. You mow lawn for a blowjob, fucking whatever.
Whatever.
Weed eat for some fisting. I mean, that's
Whatever you're into.
whatever it
If you're
is.
into weed eating.
Yeah. Man, that's fucking weed.
So 2016.
but the question, okay, so right there, let's address that. I think that's where we need to start, because that is prostitution, right? That's by definition a sexual act exchanged for money.
So you're saying inherently, is there a problem?
Is
You're just
there a
asking,
problem
is there a
with
problem
that?
with that?
Is there a problem with that? Two parties are both on board. I'm not saying because they.
Why does the middleman have to get involved in that? Right?
That's not what he's asking you right now.
That's not what I'm asking right now.
Baseline, nice and simple. I'll answer the question. Baseline, nice and simple. Is there an issue if two consenting adults, one person says, I want sex, the other person says, I will give you sex for money.
Mm-hmm.
In exchange, they both consent and agree.
Right.
I don't think there's a baseline problem with that.
Now, but why is there a
Because-
problem with that? Is because of I think it really stems to religious belief. We live in a very
Well,
we live in a culture that is very, and I don't even want to say that our origins are Christian, because they're not. A lot of our founding fathers talked about freedom, like of religion, which is also freedom from religion too. And there's plenty of atheist founding fathers, but not to get into that at all. But what you're talking about is a lot of people that are like, this is obscene in the eyes of God, because first of all, it's a sexual act that is outside of marriage, which is a very fundamental Christian belief. And there is probably Like, how you make that worse is you end up having in exchange for money for that. And I'm sure whores, like what you would call like a whore back then, or a I don't even know another fucking word for it. But they're
Like
probably,
are you talking like the old school word, like a
Yeah,
concubine or
yeah,
whatever?
Not a concubine, because
That's
that was
different.
that was perfectly fine in the Bible. But
What's the difference? Maybe I just don't know what a concubine is fully.
concubine is you're dedicating yourself to like a king. So like kings had
Oh, okay,
concubines.
okay.
Even King David had concubines,
Gotcha.
but that's, nobody ever talks about that. But so what was the problem there? I think what the real origin of the problem is obviously people's morals, and where they're getting their morality from is from the Bible that says you can't have premarital sex, because that is obviously a premarital sex kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, because that stopped so many of them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so if you were to institute and legalize prostitution, there would obviously have to be age restriction, right?
Well, yeah.
Of course, I feel like you're jumping really far to like some.
Yeah. I like the idea of what Jesse's doing right now, taking this slower and bit by bit.
Is talk about what is the morality? Why are people who are against it? Like,
I mean, if you want to get down to that, you're basically just blaming it on religion and saying it's religion's fault that it's against the law right now.
Well, Paul, what do you believe? Ignoring.
I have I have no idea. I'm down with what he's saying, but I mean, if you want to just blame it on religion, that's fine. I mean, what more can you say to that?
I think there's a lot to do with it, and I also could see a lot of insecurity within an individual coming with that. Like, let's say you're in a relationship with somebody and you're insecure. The last thing that you would want is for them to have a really easy one-night stand. Hey, I'm going to pay you money. It's in a dark alley, back alley thing. I'm going to get laid real quick. And then I feel like that's some fear of insecurity there, too, from an individual.
Yeah, but that's no different than just cheating or anything else at that point.
But the thing is, with cheating, that shit could come back around. I'm talking about like old. It's easier to cheat now than it's ever been because of social media and everything. But I'm scrolling back to where multiple generations have said that prostitution is very much illegal. It's been illegal for a long fucking time. Before social media, before it was difficult to cheat back then. Think about it. It's difficult to cheat back then. If you have, you have to pretend to be this thing. But if there's this individual who's there that's like, hey, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to sleep with you. You're going to give me money, and we're going to fucking part ways. And you get to get your cheat on, as to where if there's another individual you have to, who isn't, prostituting, you have to interact with them.
Yeah, you have to go through
you spend time with
Well,
them.
hold
You
on,
go through a
hold on.
relationship experience.
In the United States, prostitution wasn't considered. Prostitution was illegal. They made it illegal in 1910.
So it was legal before that in the United States.
Correct. So it's been
It's relatively new, actually, when you think about it, as far as time frame goes.
yeah.
Well, that's when a lot of Christian shit came into it, because I mean, everybody's seen the movies where, they had brothels and shit in Europe, and, everybody was okay with it. I don't know. I see a lot of insecurity coming from it, to where there are people that were like, oh, I don't want this person having such easy access to not have that emotional connection with me and then not get away with it. Am I making any sense there?
Yeah, no.
I'm just trying to think of reasons why people would be against it
there's
outside
tons
of religion.
There's tons of other reasons if you're ready to get into that. If you're, like I said, I thought you were taking it slow, starting baseline.
So what's another one? What's another moral that you would have against it?
Well, I'm not saying so much a moral, but you're talking about trafficking of women or men or whatever. It's usually women, but sex trafficking, stuff like that. You're talking about pimps and like groups of.
But that happens when it's illegal, though.
Yes, but that can still very much happen when it's legal. That's the thing, is people. You're right. It is happening illegally, obviously, but to just think that making it legal would solve that issue is not true, because then you have people who are going to get trafficked over from Russia because they're like, I want a better life, or they're coming from Ukraine or wherever. They're like, I don't know why I'm sticking with Slavic countries here, whatever. But they're coming from wherever, and because they want a better life or whatever, then they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you a green card and all this and hook you up with whatever and blah, blah, blah. And then they're sold into, like this group that's like, yeah, you're going to go have sex with them and give me, 50% or whatever. And if you don't, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And they're grateful for it because they're brought over to the U.S. and that's what they wanted.
But if it were to be legal, and
I'm saying that if it's legal though, you're still gonna run into that. Like that is still.
I don't
a
think
thing.
so. I don't think so.
Why?
I think at that point, whenever you make it legal, just like you do anything else, like if marijuana were to be legal, of course, the first couple of years are going to be a little rough. You have to test the water, see what's going to happen. But eventually, over time, it's going to get taxed. People are going to have to fill out forms. They're going to have to say, hey, I'm working here. I'm doing this as a job. And then, of course, if that shit's still going on, it's illegal at that point to do that to someone.
There are always going to be people like money.
For sure.
People like money. There's always going to be ways to undercut and all that. Let's say I hope they make marijuana legal. I don't even smoke, but I hope they make marijuana legal nationwide. But even when they do that, you're still going to have people who are going to go out of country, and like I'm talking, kingpins and shit, who are going out of country, getting big, massive amounts of it, and then selling it behind closed doors to these, whatever you call it. You don't think that's going to happen?
No,
people are always
not at all. Whenever it's legal.
No, because
you want to know why that's not the case?
Lower
you want to know
price
why
points.
that's not a case? Is because there's no lower price points for fucking Tylenol and fucking ibuprofen. I can't go to a guy who knows a fucking guy that can give me cheaper fucking medication.
You definitely can in Mexico right now.
But
that's a thing that happens all the time.
Okay,
all the time.
So you're talking about now. Okay, so you're just talking about strictly on price points and shit to where you're. It's legal everywhere. Let's say it's legal everywhere, but there would still be illegal import-export of that shit.
Which you can't stop.
But it's already happening, and it's happening at an alarming rate. So it would reduce it for sure.
And you're probably right. I'm just saying those are the arguments people are going to make whenever you talk about making it legal. I'm not saying it would make it worse by any means. By no means am I saying I'd make it that would make it worse.
But when it comes to sex trafficking, though, I think. I see nothing but in a regulated market to where all of a sudden girls have a voice, and then, man, I don't know. I guess it is a little.
Okay, so you hypothetical. 2 brothels, if that's what you want to call them. 2 brothels. You have one that's doing everything completely legally, exactly how they should. Girls go in, apply, get tested, whatever the process you have to go through, whatever the government deems as a reliable process. You go through all that. You have your rate. You're renting out room. However, whatever they're doing. You've got all that set up legally. You are going to have someone on the alternative who opens a legal brothel the same kind of way, but goes out of his way to take cuts from the girls, and he's going to get the trafficked ones from overseas or from whatever and do this because that's saving him money or her money. But it's saving the boss man money.
And I agree with
that will happen.
Sure, it will happen. But at the same time, that guy
is probably already doing that illegally.
Right. But now, whenever it's legal and you are in a spot where you're going to be scrutinized for even having this be legal in the first place, but it's legal. So then now the guy that's cutting corners and he's taking money from these girls, he's going to get audited once a month. Maybe that's a stipulation they have. And
trust me, I'm literally just playing devil's advocate here.
Sure.
I have no problem with them.
And that's what I'm saying.
I think they should legalize a lot more. I wish Jesse was here for this right now because I know he would agree. We've talked about drugs before on this podcast and how more drugs should be legal and all this. I would honestly, if it's not directly affecting the well-being of another individual, like you shouldn't legalize murder because that's you going out of your way affecting someone else's life.
Right.
But if someone has the ability to make choices for themselves and say that I want to smoke weed or I want to do cocaine, whatever, they should be allowed to do that. If someone says I want to get paid to have sex with someone, whatever,
no one should step in the way.
No one should step in the way.
Absolutely not. You're right. And I'm legitimately, I'm still trying to work on getting Brian from High Impact Flicks on the show. And he's really a big proponent of what you're describing right now. And that's truly what common law is the fact that if you're not hurting another
common law, right? Yeah.
If you're the origins, if you're not hurting when it comes to prostitution, and you're right, it goes the same way. If you're not affecting anyone, I should be able to have 10 hookers in my house at one time and bang all of them at the same time. And
if you want to, go for it.
Man, I just spent $1,000, but man, I just had the best night of my fucking life banging 10 hookers, man. And maybe 2 of them were guys. I'm not gay in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying.
But you wanted those 2 guy hookers
exactly.
There too.
Man, sign me
it's
up.
Your prerogative, man.
Right. People are stepping boundaries, and it's been too long in America where people have played identity politics, and they've pushed their purpose, or they push the rules into our lives to where they can't allow us to live it the way we want to.
Laws should not stop, and like I said, I wish you were here for this earlier, Jesse, but it went into the whole, drugs should be legal. Prostitution realistically should be legal. There's nothing, as long as you're not directly hurting someone else. Now, even talking about the sex trafficking or buying drugs illegally or whatever, like, even if, like, sex trafficking is hurting people, you know what I mean? The law itself, though, the law of having prostitution be legal is not directly hurting anyone. If that makes sense.
It's not. And if it is hurting someone, it's your own moral decision at
You're
that
talking,
point.
I mean, at that point, you're talking about a prohibition-style law, honestly, which is what the anti-drug laws are right now, is a prohibition-style law.
Prostitution's the same thing, man. We're all
That's what I'm
human. We
saying.
all like to bang. Come on. We all like to get it in, man. And some people want to pay for it. And at that point, you give outlets to people who can't get laid. People who can't get laid, and then now they can't pay to get it, and it's illegal, and they get arrested for it. And they're literally, they've never been laid their whole life, and they're just trying to get it in.
Just trying to get it in.
Right. And now they pay someone, and it's an undercover cop, and they go to jail for 10 years. Now that decreases their chances even more. They're actually going to get it in the butt now.
I understand. I understand why there is wisdom behind, hey, don't do this. But that habit of law, okay. So me, within my limited life experience and going through life, having the one-night stand scenario leaves you feeling, in my opinion, from my life experience, a little fucking empty inside. I do think that sex has a lot more to do with connecting to another individual on a deeper level. Not to get like fucking too...
For you.
For me, this is my own opinion. So I see the wisdom behind it, because I think it is. God, not to sound like, because I know this isn't.
How do you think?
Very bro of me, like right now. But I do personally believe that sex is a lot better and can be healthy if used in the right way with what the fuck. Fucking laughing at me right now.
No, you're just
with
you're saying it weird. I know exactly what you're saying.
With somebody that you fucking care
just your
about,
wording.
and it can bond, and and you can bond and become closer because of it. Now, I have never come out of a one night stand really feeling fulfilled in any way or closer to an individual. Maybe like, I don't know. It's different. I'm not. Is it possible that it's unhealthy? Like, does it cause unhealthy things to just be able to?
It could be unhealthy for some and good for others, though.
Yeah.
You can't say,
but
you're
this is
talking
the
about
thing.
you're talking about your own opinion.
Our
For sure.
society is perfectly fine with coming up with an app like Tinder, to where you can literally meet up with somebody, have a minimal fucking experience, go and sleep with them, and then forget about them the next day, and then that experience is just whatever. I banged that one out. That's,
But I'm sure there's
on to the next one. Me personally, I don't think that's necessarily healthy, but our society is very much for that. Our society is like, yeah, let's,
But there's no cost in that at all.
Exactly. It's right when you fucking add in money, unless there's a camera involved, and then it's called fucking porn, and then it's perfectly fine. But
There's no cost in Tinder.
No, he's saying that's what he's saying.
Right.
I was agreeing with you there.
I mean, no one's paying. It's not prostitution. I mean, that's just one night stands. Prostitution is people, specifically people out there.
But as soon as you add money, all of a sudden now it's illegal.
What I'm saying is I really do think that fundamentally why it's frowned upon is because I don't think it's really healthy in the long run to just sleep with people you don't know and don't build connections with. But I understand your point of view, to where like an extreme of somebody that has the hormone level that want to get fucking laid, but for whatever reason just can't. They're introverted or whatever, just doesn't want to go out there and go through that fucking process. I understand that. Me personally, I think it should be legalized. I think prostitution should be legalized, but I understand the wisdom behind
the connection of sex
behind it, not
intercourse.
because what it's saying is just go out and not make connections with people and not have that really, because it's completely different whenever you love someone and fucking sleep with them. That's all I'm saying. Not to sound all fucking
What's to say that doesn't spark that though? Let's just say you pay for sex one time and you're not, and you're
That'd be man. That's a book right there.
But what's to say it doesn't spark it?
Man, that stripper really likes me, man. No, it's not about the money, man. She's really just into me.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah,
yeah, right.
I'm saying it could spark it. I think there's more benefits to it being legal, just like a lot of other things.
And I agree. And I agree, but you got to think about I think what is more of what it is to be a human being, and as far as the interaction with sex with another human being, I think it should be more meaningful and not just.
So
Okay, Jesse, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100% on that, honestly. But why does that mean you have to make it illegal?
right.
Exactly. No, and
That's
I'm,
what I'm
I'm
saying.
not. I'm all for the legalization
And
of prostitution.
honestly, let's ask.
But
a
what I was
question.
saying is, I just understand the wisdom behind probably the origin
But let's
of
say-
why
But
they
why?
made it illegal.
But why turn something
But
into a
it
law?
went-
Why restrict?
You're right.
And
You're
it-
right. It's gone completely. It's all fucked.
So I'm
it's
just-
all fuckery at this point.
And that doesn't even apply to prostitution at that point. We're talking about drugs or anything. I'm saying why turn something into a law when there's probably not a law needed there? You're right. It's probably healthier to not do that, right? Like on a mental level, even on a physical level, it is healthier to not go that route.
For sure.
It is healthier to find people and fall in love and so on and so forth and have that more emotional connection as well. Healthier, yes. But to go outright and say, since it's healthier to do this, so on and so forth, we're just making it completely illegal.
This is the difference in where
We've gotten
I get frustrated as a libertarian, and I am a libertarian. I have certain moralities. I have a lot of the way that I live my life is up to everybody has different morals. Everybody is living a different life. I'm okay with being like, hey man, I can't do this because you know what, I'm not comfortable with this. The second I say, hey, you can't do that because I'm uncomfortable with you doing that, and I don't even fucking know you. I don't know. That's where I cross the line. That's why I don't believe in any prohibition whatsoever. That's why I've always said all drugs should be legal. Prostitution
sure.
should be legal because me and my limited experience as an understanding that, yes, my morals are different from their morals. That doesn't necessarily make him a bad person or me a good person within that same instance.
Who does this apply to, though? And what age group does this apply to? Who do you think it affects the most when it applies to an age group?
Like if you're going to legalize prostitution.
Exactly. No, for it being illegal, what age group do you think it affects the most?
Men.
For it being illegal?
Men,
Yeah.
men in their 40s.
I was going to say,
and
yeah.
on.
You would say men in 40s?
middle-aged.
So
Yeah.
you're telling me
later to
you don't think like
late-
20-year-olds would want to do that shit, or 25-year-olds?
they can get laid on their own.
Yeah.
True.
No, they'll still fucking do it because they're fucking.
But out of the
little perverts.
percentage of 25-year-olds, there's got to be a small percentage, or maybe
No,
even
there's definitely
more.
the people who would go to Vegas and just be like, yeah, fuck it.
But if it was everywhere,
Or well, that's my point.
when you
That's
turn
my
18,
point.
when you turn 18, and if you're single and you go to a strip club and you're like, oh shit, now I can pay to have sex. I think
it's
that's
it's gonna happen.
yeah. So it fuels the economy, man. Let's go.
And if both parties are perfectly fine with it, and I mean nobody's being forced into some shit. That's the big problem is whenever somebody's being forced by another individual for their benefit and they're taking advantage of the other person.
Yeah, there's obviously a whole bunch of
when
issues.
no one's being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong with
100%.
anything, by the way.
Yeah.
Not even prostitution. If two parties, neither one's being taken advantage of, I don't care what they're doing, if they both contractually, whatever, are fine with it, then let it fucking happen.
Could you imagine the amounts of money the government's missing out on right now for illegal prostitution?
Well,
If they were gonna
they
make-
would have legalized it.
Yeah,
if
if they were
wouldn't
gonna make that much
off
money
of
off
it.
of it, they
That's
would've-
just
it
how
would
it
be
works.
legal.
That's the only
Dude,
reason why marijuana is
everyone-
coming back around. because
Everyone loves to have sex, man. More than people smoke weed. That's a thing. There's 6 billion people on this earth. Close to 7 billion. Everyone loves to bang, man.
What kind of dilemma do you run into? That's probably why they don't, honestly.
True.
Think about the dilemma that they would run into the moment they say it's legal now. We realize that prohibition doesn't work. All forms of prohibition, drugs, alcohol, sex, anything where you tell someone that they can't do something with their own body, kind of thing. Any kind of prohibition. The government says, "Hey, we realize this doesn't work, so we're gonna make prostitution legal now. You can do that, but we're taxing you 50% or we're taxing you 5%. Doesn't matter the number. But now all of a sudden the government's making money on your body, on you doing what you want.
Well, they already do that.
I know,
off
but
our
I'm
hard
saying
work.
I know, but I'm saying
Yeah,
that
we-
maybe that's why they think of the fucking
Backlash.
yes.
Yeah.
Think of the backlash. So for them, it's probably not worth it.
I thought you were going to get into saying that like there's going to be more babies created. That's what I thought you were about to say.
I think our forms of
No, fuck that, man. Like you're
not,
right.
not contraception,
That's what I was thinking too.
but that's not the right word. Birth
Yeah.
control, or is it contraception?
Contraception.
Yeah, contraception,
contraception's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Why did
Yeah.
that seem?
No, it seemed like
I was like, that's
getting
the opposite. That's
impregnated.
getting pregnant. No.
That was weird. I think our forms of contraception are really good right now. So as far as babies being made. No, our country, honestly, I believe wants the highest population humanly possible
It's true.
because it just creates. I don't know.
More money for the rich, man. For sure, you're right. I agree with that.
There's more pawns to push in the game.
Well,
whenever it,
I mean, we are a
I don't
a
want to get
currency.
into. I know that's.
I was looking at a
that's
specific.
near conspiracy.
I was looking
theory
at a
right there,
statistic
but-
just kind of trying to improve a point, and I guess in 2016 there was like 38,000 people who got arrested for prostitution. Those are people who actually got caught. So I mean, maybe
That's it.
Yeah, maybe double that. You're looking at like close to 100,000 people that are prostitutes in a
It's
population.
probably way over double.
Man, what
Yeah.
the fuck? No, there's got to be way more.
There's no way
Yeah.
they're catching 50% of people.
This was 2016. Yeah, California had 7,600 arrests. Texas had 4,500. Nevada had 2,800. Florida 2,300. Pennsylvania 1,700. Ohio 1,300.
What was the highest number?
California 7,000 arrests in 2016.
California and then Texas.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah. But I mean, those are people who got caught. You know?
I wonder if you were to match up the charts between drug addiction and prostitution, I bet they line up. I bet you see the same states
Are you
that
talking
have
about like location
high
wise?
prostitution and drug addiction. They'd match up. I would almost put money on it.
And that's frustrating. It shouldn't come down to like people being on drugs or women being on drugs
and then having to go do something that they really don't want to do.
to make $10. You know, if you make it legal, you can make it more expensive to make it happen, and then they have a better outlet.
That's some Sam's Club dick sucking right there. Fucking
$10,
$10, man. The fuck?
$1 to watch me touch it.
Yeah.
$2 for you to touch it.
It's very hairy subject, if you know what I mean.
No, it's not. When's the last time that's been on the fucking docket, by the way, what we're talking about as far as prostitution? Something that's very prevalent, but you don't hear any fucking news station talking about.
It's
That's too far
There's-
out there?
no,
The
think
thing
about-
that's happened before even fucking weed was a fucking thing?
I'm going back to what you talking about with morals
That
and
doesn't make any fucking
a
sense.
religious level, Jesse.
Yeah. No, I think
We're a
relig-
religious country, so yes, that is too far out there.
Man.
Abortion, whatever. But like,
our idea of a religious country is pretty fucking ridiculous because it's a bunch of Christians it's basically a bunch of Christians disagreeing with each other on all levels, and everybody's Christian, but nobody's on the fucking same page with fucking anything. So I don't know what that's worth. Like, yeah, I'm human too.
So
it's
what-
almost like if you're an American, you could be like, hey, I'm Christian and I'm a human. They'd be like, well, I don't know anything about you.
So I'm going to segue.
Because you're just
segue.
everyone at that point. You breathe air too.
And I want to segue right now because I think it's a perfect time for what's happening in Hong Kong right now. I don't know if you guys know what's going on there.
Educate me, Paul.
So basically,
Bring it.
I
bring
know
the
a
info,
little
man.
bit. I've looked into it.
And for
Bring
what
the
and for
info.
what you've said, Jesse, and I want you to shed light onto it based off what you just said, and I want you to give a message to anyone who wants to come here to America, because basically in 2040 there's two religions in China, right?
In 2040, we don't know that.
No. There's two specific religions, and the reason that there's protests in Hong Kong right now, and you have massive protests, millions of people hitting the streets, millions. They're blocking off airports to where people can't even fly out of Hong Kong, which is probably the number one.
I thought it had to
fucking-
do with the government unrest between the government and the people, that they feel a little.
Well, no, the
That's
government
afterwards. That's not the initial reason.
the government wants to be able to extradite people from Hong Kong to Beijing or something like that.
Yeah.
Is what the initial shit is about. But
Which is a national government they should be allowed to do.
yeah, but
Everybody's protesting against it, but you do realize that we do that, right, in our country? If you murder someone in Missouri
and you go to fucking.
and then you go to Florida, they take your ass out of Florida and bring you back to
Hong
Missouri.
Kong
To be
dude,
tried.
Hong Kong is still part
No.
of China.
We've talked about Chinese and how they do murder. Like, they'll pull up in a van and fucking murder you, bro. Like, shit's intense.
That doesn't
You're not
that
in China.
changes.
You don't know. That shit happens everywhere.
What I'm
That
saying
shit
is,
happens everywhere.
But China isn't a democracy. Nor is it
No,
a constitutional
no, they're not.
republic.
We're
And
not.
that-
We're not a democracy either.
We're not.
We're a corporate oligarchy. Is what
Exactly.
we really fucking
100
are. But if
100%.
you want to get down to bare bones,
But when you compare apples to oranges, or you compare China to America, we're leaps and bounds, not even close to what China is.
I'm not trying to.
But what I'm saying, Jesse, when you were spreading that message earlier before I interrupted you and said I wanted to segue into
why-
this, what I'm saying is, hold on, is what would be your message to those people? Because there was at one point in time when there was millions of people protesting, they said they were chanting American chants is what they were doing mid-protest. Because
what are American chants?
Like, we want democracy USA. We want democracy USA. Some shit like that is what they were saying. What I'm asking you, Jesse, what would be your message to those million fucking people protesting saying that they want that?
Keep doing what you're doing. They seem very sound in their belief in where the country should go. And I am very much for the idea that the people run the country, not the government running the people to run the country, or however other way you could put it, between fascism or
which they
communism.
They did get the bill delayed, by the way.
What's that?
They got the bill or the law that was going to be passed, the extradition law.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Indefinitely suspended.
Right. But it wasn't enough, is what they said.
The biggest group of people should decide. I think America got it right here. I think it is the people should fucking run the country because we're the ones living in it. It shouldn't be taken advantage of by the 1%, even though, oddly enough, that is still happening here.
All the time.
All the time. It's a corporate oligarchy now. But it's a great concept. Keep fucking fighting for it. And if you get it, enjoy it while you fucking have it, China, because it'll probably end up going away. I think, no, keep fucking doing it. Keep fighting for a better life for you and your family and your future generations and whatever you want, whatever freedoms that you think are, necessary. But you got to fight for them in the end. I think we're just blessed at the fact that, there was generations that died before, all of us were sitting in front of a mic being able to say what we're saying now.
Here's the one issue I have with this, and there's probably going to be a lot of hate out there, a lot of people who disagree with me. I agree 100% with the people should make the decisions. So I have no problem with them protesting. I really don't. I have no problem with them protesting, and the government should listen to them because, like you said, they're not a democracy. It'd be better if they were, in my opinion, whatever. The people should run the government, or the majority. 51% should have more of a say than 49%, basically.
And that's too bland, by the way. I think it should be more separated than that. But
whatever.
That's
whatever.
very different.
The people should whatever. But I don't necessarily. I agree with the stuff they're talking about now with the police and so on and so forth. I agree with what it's turned into. But the original thing, the Extradition Act or whatever, like, I don't agree with the protest against that because to me that's no different than you're basically saying you can do whatever you want in Beijing,
right? Because
and then escape to Hong Kong, which is still part of your country, still part of China, but you're safe there.
In the story
because of non-extradition.
The story behind it was, Jesse, is a guy took his wife or his girlfriend or whatever. He went from Beijing to Hong Kong or whatever, murdered her, killed her, straight up fucking killed her, and went back to Beijing, and then he got acquitted. There was no trial.
Other way around, I think.
Yeah, there was no trial. He got away with murder because you couldn't get extradited from...
He went from Hong Kong to Beijing.
Right.
Killed his wife. Came back to Hong Kong. Hong Kong does not extradite to other parts of the country.
Right.
Even though they're all one country. So here's my thing. People are against this law that would allow extradition. I'm all for the people having their way, but why are you against this in the first place? Why do you want Hong Kong full of murderers and rapists and people who have gotten away with shit that are not going to be held accountable?
Man, there's got to be some underlying shit there. You wouldn't have that.
No, that's the story. That's the story.
There's got to be some other shit there, man.
That's true.
It's not...
No, because that's how bills work. That's how laws work. Is there's always some hidden fucking pork fat in there.
That is a very... I guarantee you, if you were to poll the entire planet, chances are, not to sound cocky or anything, they'd have the same opinion that we would have right now. To where if you murder someone somewhere, you shouldn't be able to get away with it just because you moved a location away, and then now you can't be fucking tried for it when all the evidence is fucking over here. It's not like we could ever... Can we go to Europe and just kill the fuck out of somebody and then come back to America and then not ever have to worry about it? Is that just how that works? Because I'm pretty sure that's not how the fuck that works.
Well, it's like with Julian Assange. He went to he was in... I forget what country he was in, but he was the whistleblower for WikiLeaks, and he was over in... I can't think of the country off the top of my head, but he was there for like the past 6 years because America couldn't extradite people out of there.
I don't
and
think
they finally did. They finally got him.
You know what's crazy? We have extradition. I was just curious. We have extradition rights with Hong Kong. If you murder someone here and then you go to Hong Kong, you can be arrested in Hong Kong and sent back here.
That's deep.
but not in their own country.
Right.
Which is why I don't understand the new protest. I've done a decent amount of research on this. I'm not going to act like I know everything about it by no means, any shape or form. But the very baseline level research I've done on it, the protests now, I'm okay with. They're just talking about their rights to protest,
Right.
and how they don't want to be harassed by cops and so on and so forth, because because as humans they should have a right to have some say on what goes on in the government. But the original reasoning, I still do not understand. Like, why are you so against extradition?
For sure.
Probably for bullshit laws they get arrested for and then get shipped to Hong Kong.
That's a valid point. That's a valid point.
So if they have some bullshit over there to where, hey, even though we don't have to tell you anything, we're literally going to take you to Hong Kong right now, or Beijing.
You mean
or
the other way? Yeah.
However it is. And we're just, you did some shit, but
you had 2 girl babies. Oh, shit, we should go to Hong Kong so they don't extradite us.
They lifted that law.
I know,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I see what you're saying, Jesse. I didn't think of that. I didn't think of some bullshit laws they might have that people were, oh, shit, I committed a crime, according to them. Well, at least I can go to Hong Kong and still live in my country and be safe from this accidental crime I committed that's probably not a terrible crime, but is technically against the law in China.
Built up, and then now they're able to come and get you, bring you back, and then probably do an injustice there.
I didn't think about that
you
side
don't
of
have
things.
that kind of uprising over something that's just general human morality is, hey, if you murder someone here and you end up in this country because this is where you're from, nobody's fighting for murderers. There's no way you get that uprising from that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
There has to be some underlining fucking bullshit from the government to make the people that
could
upset.
exist in China to cause these issues.
Well, and we talked about the China social credit and shit like that. I mean, it could be a little bit
which
to do with that.
Haven't done yet, but
it's implemented for sure.
The social credit thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's been going on.
I got to look into that. I don't see that being a thing.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that's the reason why people might feel that way, but I'm saying they're instituting shit.
I'm saying I don't see the social credit thing being a thing at all.
Oh, it is. It's been implemented for sure. But is China's, are they fascist? Are they commie or what? Like, what is their government? Communist, yeah. So, I mean, maybe that's what they're trying to stay away from.
Well, are they even considered communists anymore?
I don't know what China is.
No,
honestly.
because I'm pretty sure the U.S. wouldn't do any kind of deals with them at all if they were considered communists. That's why we have the issue with North Korea. I'm pretty sure North Korea is like the last true fucking communist on the fucking planet. And you see how their fucking people are manipulated. North Korea is the last true communist. I don't know what the fuck China is. But China's, if I remember right, China's like treading right there. They're probably not called communist anymore.
What the fuck is up with Russian drivers, man? Have you
ever? They don't know how to fucking drive because all the wreck videos that you see, the compilations, those are great, by the way,
aren't they? Like, what the fuck is up with that?
As fuck.
What is up with that?
Me and Savannah literally sat in bed and watched. It's either, I know this sounds gross as fuck, but either like zit popping fucking videos, which I know was a thing like years ago. But
why do people get off on that? I don't get that. That shit, like,
I don't know. I don't get it either. I don't get it either, but I fucking get into it.
I saw an ad on YouTube for this thing you could buy that's like a fake zit popping thing. It's like a toy that you like fill with fake pus or whatever, and then like like bubble wrap. It's like bubble wrap, but you hit it in the pus stuff. I'm like, I don't know. Why do people? I don't get it. There's no part of me that's like, yeah, let me pop your zit. No,
there's got to be some shit to that. But it's that whole zit popping fucking video thing, which was cool a couple of years ago. It's not cool anymore. But no, we love watching the rec videos, and what I've always noticed in those rec video compilations is none of them are happening in America.
Yeah.
None of them. It's always like some weird European. There's no stop signs or stop lights, and motherfuckers are just smash. And I'm like, man, you needed a stoplight right there.
No, there's more basic accidents that happen in those videos that are just super close calls, and they're just bad drivers, man. I think that's what it comes down to. I know that if you were to put dash cams on everyone in the United States, you would have probably quite a few videos, but it wouldn't be as much as what happens in Russia. It's bad.
A lot of that shit's just stupid.
By the way,
you're right.
So China,
Russia, there's just some stupid, like,
they're drinking too much vodka, man.
Do they have DUIs? Can you get arrested for drunk driving in Russia?
Check that out.
Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm curious.
Do the cops care?
Could you imagine living in a society to where you could just drink as much as you want and drive with no repercussions? Unless obviously, like if you kill someone or or wreck, you're owed the damages done if you're at fault.
Right.
So you could still be drunk but drive perfectly safe. Somebody smashes into you, the sober driver's got to pay for you.
Yeah. I'm down with that. What's up, Johnny?
Man, we're fucking alcoholics. We should even be bringing that up.
And I still don't agree with drunk
nobody in
driving.
America.
There's.
Man,
I should
you guys
clarify.
can talk about prostitution being legalized, but you start talking about mad mothers against drunk driving, man. Fucking the nation.
Which they've lowered it. They've lowered it way too much to points that don't even make sense.
No,
but
we'll get
you should
burned
not
by the
drive intoxicated.
No.
You should not drive intoxicated.
Don't drive intoxicated. But man, you get any kind of like
but the
little
fact
hint
that you can
of me talking about, hey man, drunk drivers should have a little bit more rights. Fucking mothers against drunk driving will literally hang me and fucking disembowel me and eat my fucking innards just to prove how
the fact that technically you can drink if you have
fucking institution.
you go right now to a restaurant with your friends, or you go hang out with your dad or whatever, and you're like, man, I'm gonna have dinner with my dad, and you have 2 beers in an hour while you're there. You got 2 beers, right? And then you leave and you drive. If you're pulled over, you're over the limit. You can legally be arrested for drunk driving at that point. Is that really? Man, you're right. This sounds so bad saying this kind of stuff. People are gonna get. You can't. You're not allowed to say this kind of stuff. But I don't care. No, I'm gonna say what I want to say right now. I don't think that there's really an issue with that. Yeah, no, you go out there and take 4 shots, yeah, don't do that. Don't fucking drive intoxicated. But if a 300-pound dude goes out there and drinks a beer, and then the cop's like, yeah, I gotta arrest you, man, because you had a beer.
You might as well just do that with the way that things are going. Why not just go ahead and say, hey, if you've had any alcohol within 3 hours, just don't drive.
What about if you're in a Tesla or a self-driving car and
That's
you're
that's great to bring up.
Oh, real quick before I forgot about China, by the way, is not communist. They are technically the People's Republic of China, and they are.
Sounds very communist.
Hold up, let me finish. You're not wrong, Jesse. You know why? Because they're the People's Republic of China, ruled by their current political system. Their current party is the Communist Party.
They cough right at the end of it. The People's Republic of China.
Communist. No, let me finish here. They are currently ruled by the Communist Party.
There you go. So they're communist, but
they're not technically communist,
but don't want to be viewed as communist.
Why we still do deals with them.
Right. Everything that's in our house is made from China, so.
Because of the bullshit. Yeah, no, that's what you get with communism. You get a by the way, I love this representation of what Mike Anderson talked about last week as far as progression of China. China's going to progress past us because there's nobody that's able to stop China from progressing the direction that they're going in.
So you're saying communism's the way to go?
No, I'm not saying communism is the way to go, but because we're a democracy, we have all these hang-ups, all these little hiccups to where, oh man, we can't get this done, which prevents us getting from this, so we end up falling behind. As to where in a communist nation, man, this is the fucking path.
But like you said, we're really not even a democracy. So are we?
We're really not.
Is it really even a hiccup? I mean, we're socialist at heart.
No, we're not. We're not socialist.
Yeah, dude.
It's
government
weird.
Takes like up to.
It's like 30%. Hiccups on paper, but our laws haven't fucking changed. I mean, man, we got weed, but
authoritarian is, I would say, the state we're at.
We're very much exactly what Jesse said earlier, which is a corporate oligarchy
with
a little bit of authoritarianism.
We are ruled by a party of people. We're ruled by I'm just going to make up an imaginary number. We're ruled by 15 people. That's a fake number. It could be 80 people. It could be 10 people. We're ruled by a group of people who make decisions and bribe the Congress and everything else and get everything they want done. And that's all these corporate giant companies that exist.
That's 100%.
I'm pretty sure everybody who's even non-conspiracy theorist can be like, yeah, man, fucking corporations. So they just get to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people would be on board.
What's still crazy to me is that there's so many states that legally your state representative or your state senator or whatever does not have to go with the popular vote of your state. Like your state could say 60% of you could say, hey, this is what we want you to do for the election or whatever. And there's some states where it's completely legal for them to be like, nah.
How much money did you pay your senator this year, Paul? I'm just curious. $0. Johnny, how much money did you pay your senator or state representative this year?
In taxes, probably some.
Right.
But, I mean, that's not going directly into his pocket.
Donations.
That's
you're talking like donation stuff? Nothing, but I guarantee you that fucking
Time
Warner did. Time Warner did, though.
Why does he care, though? So why would he care about
But
Johnny?
he cares about Time Warner.
Why does he care about Paul?
There are people putting money in his pocket.
But man, fucking, big pharma comes in and goes, man, we really need this to be this way. And here you go. And guess what that politician's going to do? What he was voted on initially, or where the money's taking him? Because it's capitalist to have that mentality. And that is a very capitalist mentality. Go where the money's at. And that is a very make your own fucking shit. Now, at some point, you have to draw a line.
It's the American dream.
It is the American dream. Our founding fathers didn't see. I love how Joe Rogan fucking talked about it. God damn it. I'm going to quote Joe Rogan here, but he's like, man, if you had Washington come back today and look at our society, he'd be like, you motherfuckers haven't written any new shit? Like, man, come on. Write some new shit. That was good back then. It made sense back then. Now we progressed.
I disagree with that.
Guess what?
I disagree with
Loopholes.
that.
You disagree with that? Shit changes all
that's
the time.
fine.
We have changed.
Loopholes were found within our system.
I'm saying for the rights for the people that live within the rights of the people outweigh the rights of new laws. As long as the new laws.
I'm talking about on a moral basis.
If those laws represent us,
lacking.
then yeah. If new laws represent us, 100% I'm down with that. Of course, who wouldn't be?
We haven't written any new shit.
What more new do you want?
I mean, we've changed laws.
Look at what has happened. There is no such thing as a fair election anymore because nobody's true opinions
You're
are being.
right.
It's not our opinions anymore that presidents are elected on. It is corporations, and what is for the betterment of an elite top percent of fucking people that get to benefit from it. Not you or me or fucking. Especially not the fucking poor.
So hold
the
on.
poor get shit on all the fucking time.
Yeah.
We have all the fucking resources there, but you
Right.
have greedy motherfuckers that have fucking taken
sure.
advantage.
So what I'm
what
saying
was
is,
a great system
what I'm
has
saying
been taken advantage of.
the fundamentals.
We
of,
haven't written in any new shit to fucking prevent that.
No,
at all.
we've wrote new amendments, and that's happened over the course of time. We've implemented new amendments and shit like that.
I mean,
which are,
some really fucking basic ones.
right, but
Women are people too. That was
Gays can get
that's
married.
progressive.
Okay.
Which isn't even a fucking thing all the way yet.
What I'm saying, and there might be more. Do we know? We'd have to look. I'm saying the fundamentals of the Constitution protect us, the people, right? So with how corrupt we've gotten,
As they all laugh in the fucking they think the
Hold
fucking
on, hold on,
Constitution's
hold on,
for
hold
them.
on. So I'm just saying, if we were going to allow new amendments to enter Congress, or we're gonna adopt new amendments and implement them, you're gonna have those be implemented by people who are corrupt. That it's not going to be for the people. It's going to be for those corrupt people.
This comes very much back around to what I talk about as far as hierarchies go. And could you ever have a perfect system? No, it's completely impossible. Eventually,
A well-balanced system would be fine.
but we could balance our system out. For anybody who thinks that America is this great shining light upon the fucking world, I really don't think it fucking is.
It's not.
I don't think it
It's
fucking
a
is.
lot better than a lot of places out there.
It is. There's a lot of opportunity
But
here.
is it perfect?
But
No.
you
No.
sacrifice some things, and it could be a lot fucking better. We don't get any fucking shit done. I agree with Mike Anderson on this. We get nothing done. Everybody's too separated. Media separates us. You get to choose from, hey, you want asshole A or asshole fucking B to fucking go ahead and step in and be a fucking fake face for corporations to just run shit in the background and puppeteer everything, and then you're just worried about all this other bullshit. Nobody's worried about fucking self-development. Nobody reads books anymore, and social media's fucking corrupting fucking everyone. I'm all for that.
Honestly, you know where I don't hear
It's-
a lot out of? And if it wasn't for the fact that there's like giant rabid scorpions riding on the back of kangaroos and shit, fucking Australia, bro, that's where I'd go. You never hear crazy shit coming out.
There's
I mean, once in a
crazy
while,
shit. There's
Hey,
crazy shit.
they have legal prostitution. Australia legalized prostitution.
I didn't
They
know
took
that.
away guns. They took away guns,
They
but
did.
man, they legalized prostitution.
Knife rates are off the chain in Australia.
I still
Really?
bet they're not as bad
Yeah,
as
really?
gun rates.
People
You-
still knifing people, bro.
I know people are obviously going to knife people. You take
Be
away
a man.
guns, people
Be
will
a man. Pussies. I remember hearing some like what was it? Gangland. I don't know if y'all ever watched fucking Gangland.
Leo?
I just said y'all,
Leo?
which is weird.
Y'all.
I would just went
Is that Leo?
gangster. No, Gangland. You remember the documentary where they go around and they talk about certain gangs in different
Yeah.
portions of the United States, or even, it wasn't. It was like
Oh yeah,
a
I did. No, I've watched that because I've watched
Bro.
the
Had to do with
episodes on like
MS-13 too.
the Latin Kings.
I
And
watched Scarface,
But
bro.
it,
Come on.
But it was you had some old school fucking gangsters from like the 70s, right? They were like, you were a pussy if you used the gun back in the 70s. They were like kind of that old West mentality, like you never shoot somebody because if you shoot somebody, you're a little fucking bitch. Like if you shoot somebody, that's a sign of, oh, I could never beat you. So now this is my ultimate advantage and I get to fucking shoot you. You are considered a coward. Now everybody fucking uses guns to fucking kill people in fucking gang fights. I say bring the knives back. Be men. Fucking knife fight. You got to be up in their
So
fucking face.
you're chilling McDonald's. You could either get shot or stabbed in the back. Shot in the head or stabbed in the back 4 or 5 times.
I mean, obviously, if you're going to survive the stabbing, then I would go with the stabbing.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, being stabbed would
I prefer to be
suck.
shot, but
I
that's
prefer
what
to
I'm
be
saying.
shot,
That's
too, because
pussy
being
shit.
stabbed would
Yeah,
suck.
I agree.
When did we forget that shooting people was pussy shit? It was considered pussy shit for the longest time. Even
Yeah.
old westerns, like in The Hateful Eight, right? The guy turned his back. He was like, man, you don't shoot people in the back. There was like because you were a pussy. If you shot somebody in the fucking back, now you have drive-by fucking shootings.
Where they
and
shoot
shit.
up people's homes and shit, and like babies are getting killed.
Get to your enemy. Get your enemy. Be face to face. Be a fucking man. Fucking fight them, like bare fist. Fucking be a man. Be a man and do it that way. That's some pussy. Guns are for pussies. I'm gonna say it here on this fucking podcast. I'm all for fucking gun rights. I think everybody should be allowed to buy a gun. But man, guns are for pussies. If you have an enemy who doesn't have a gun, don't ever fucking shoot him. You better. God damn it, Yu-Gi-Oh! Fucking card battle.
That's how
for
we should
dominance.
solve all disagreements. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Well, that's going to end the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the top of the hour. I think we hit on some good subjects, man. We talked about things that are going on within the lives of each and every person that lives within the United States that affects everyone. Those things do, and we got to talk about them, and we got to talk about it more, and more people need to talk about it. It can't just be us. It needs to be everyone. And you know, me, Jesse, Johnny have a voice, and we have a platform on YouTube that allows us to do this that doesn't necessarily reach their algorithms, but by golly, if it ever does, and you guys listen to this, please just comment below.
By golly.
He just went Mayberry as fuck.
Yeah. By golly.
We all need to be talking about it, man.
Willikers.
I can tell you this, man. We're all 3 down-to-earth people, and it doesn't matter who you are, what color you are. If you were ever to just come up to us and just say hi, we would say hi right back. We'd give you a hug. We'd give you a high five. We'd fist bump you. We'd fucking sit down, eat with you, drink a margarita, and take a chip, dip it in some salsa, and put it in our fucking mouths with you sitting down next to us. That's who we are.
I mean, don't make me
Hey,
seem
man,
that
you
friendly.
just-
There's a lot of people I just don't like people, bro.
I do, man.
I have social anxiety.
But we'd get over it.
Yeah, we'll
Stop
talk about
speaking
anything.
for me, Paul.
Damn it. I'm sorry.
We as a nation just need to do what we're doing here tonight, not to play us up too much, but I think that's what you're talking about. We need to talk about some shit that actually fucking matters. Some shit that's, where are we going as a country? What is your morals? Don't be afraid of your own morality to think that, oh, just because I'm in this group and I have a different mindset, but man, everybody around me is saying this, so I need to say what they're saying.
That goes back to what Mike Anderson was talking about with
Get
tribalism.
the fuck away from that. Everybody's an individual. Everybody has opinions on
Think
shit.
for yourself.
Think for yourself, but understand you're a human being, and probably nobody has anything right. So we're just all doing our best. We're on a spinning fucking rock out in fucking space. Or man,
You stray away from that. Stray away from that.
God damn it. We're a bunch of self-aware individuals who were just trying to do our best.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to, come to the conclusion as, and we need to be worried about each other and not just the person sitting next to me, to my right or left, but to the people that you'll never meet in your life. Try to set them up better too. Hold doors open. Fucking
Dude, I don't litter.
put shopping carts away.
I hold
Thank
doors.
you. That's what it all comes down to.
Put
That's what I've
shopping
said
carts
so
away.
many times.
Be a
Hold doors
good
open for
fucking
motherfuckers
person.
and put your shopping cart away.
And
That's it.
And don't litter.
And don't litter.
I don't litter.
Don't litter.
Granted, we all litter because we put our trash in a trash can. The trash goes to a dump site.
Whatever.
But anyways, hit the bell or hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button. And all our junkies out there.
Stay fly and ring the bell.